looking at me crazy. I thought, all right, something's wrong.
Welcome to the Bleeding Birdie podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Martin, and it is Monday, March 8th, 2021. I am here with my co-pilot, the man, the myth, the Washington football Twitter troll, Keith Gray. What's going on, Keith? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Hanging out on a Monday. Excited about tonight's guests. So let's keep it going.
Absolutely. We've got an exciting show lined up for you. We have Shelly Jordan. Y'all know her at Shells 81 joining us. Shelly, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here. And Rick Snider from 106.7 The Fan, writer, and from Rick Snider's Washington. How you doing, Rick? Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on. I'm finally doing podcasts now after working in newspapers all my life. We're just jerks and we stay away from everybody in the public. That's just who we are. We have to be that way, to be honest. So Rich Chandler, who I knew very well, taught me that you have to be customer service. And I think of all the times I was mean to people, especially on the sidelines that were bugging me while I'm trying to watch practice and they don't see it the same way I do. And I just thought, you could have been nicer to people. So, okay, I'll start doing podcasts when people ask me.
Well, we appreciate it. We absolutely do. Last week, we had some interesting things come out of Ashburn Park. From the cheerleader getting disbanded, and then a new dance group formed. It's supposed to be co-ed. Alex Smith's being released, and then the alleged bombshell report that the sports junkies read out on Friday. That's where we want to start because Beth Wilkinson, she's doing the investigation into the Washington football culture and in Dan Snyder, and she gave two recommendations in this alleged report. The first one was Dan Snyder needs to sell his shares in the team, and the second was a long suspension where Jason Wright and Ron Rivera can sort of right the ship and clean up the culture. Rick, what do you think about that?
Well, the NFL has a rule that says if 2/3 of owners vote, they can expel any owner. I don't see that happening. That's like impeachment kind of stuff. You just can't. It's awfully hard to push that out. So you take that off the table. So now what do you have? Well, Goodell could suspend Snyder. He could lean on him to sell, but Snyder doesn't want to sell, and I don't think it's going to be easy to make him do that. If you want to suspend him, in a way, what's the point? They've changed the culture at this place. I'll say that. They got rid of Bruce and some of these terrible people in the front office that did some things. They've hired some really good people like Rivera and Mayhew and Herney, who I worked with years ago. Julie with the social media stuff and TV. They've done a lot of great things to turn around this team, and including Rivera, I think can get them to a Super Bowl in a couple of years if they get a quarterback. So why, suspended Dan? What's the part there? Finding them, that's nothing. Taking away a draft pick, whatever. So I think in the end, not a lot really is going to happen. Now, there may be some civil lawsuits that are going on, and that may do something. And maybe that jars some more information loose that could force Snyder out or suspended more, than just the report. But, Beth Wilson knows what she's talking about. She's a high-level, lawyer investigator. So the page, supposedly the report has not reached the NFL offices yet. The Junkies today put out a statement saying that their source was wrong and it had not reached the NFL yet. That doesn't mean the NFL doesn't know what's in it. They know what's in it, especially after the other day. I guarantee you they called Wilkinson up and said, "Read me what you have." So don't lose track of what's important here, and that is the recommendations most of all. And I think Goodell's trying to shuffle his feet best he can. He's waiting for a 4:00 Friday to release this. But I think it's going to be still a few weeks away. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't see a quick resolution.
Rick, what surprises me about this is the two recommendations. That seems to be like the biggest focus of the news that was released. But in your years of experience in journalism, I mean, wouldn't, whoever, gave the information, wouldn't they have wanted to discuss the reasons behind those recommendations? I mean, that seems like to me to be more of a hot topic than to actually discuss recommendations. I mean, as of right now, all we heard is this could be a possibility, that could be a possibility, but of what? Like, I just feel like that information got left out. So we're left wondering why.
Well, I used to do a lot of these kinds of stories when I was younger and had better taste for blood, I guess. But what, whoever leaked it, I think leaked it because they feared the NFL was just going to put it in a file cabinet and no one was going to see it. And they wanted to see a resolution. So instead of giving up the whole report, you give up the real key part that would hit the news cycle hard. So that's probably why. I mean, we kind of know what they're already investigating on all these allegations. So if you just say the end result, well, you figure those allegations must have been really proven through. There was one part also leaked out that, Snyder tried to inhibit the investigation.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
That's the real bad part. I mean, if you do something like that, say with the FBI, that's how Martha Stewart went to jail, lying and doing stuff like that. I mean, that's the real hard part too. It gets you in more trouble.
Yeah. So
I think
the
that's
cover
why.
up is sometimes worse than the crime itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, to kind of coincide with that, the cheerleader program being disbanded, headed with the new co-ed dance program, Petra Pope. It was announced earlier in the month that the program was on pause. I think we now know that was kind of the PR announcement of that. And then it was we found out that they had a Zoom meeting and that they were actually fired during that Zoom meeting. I was listening to the JP and B Mitch show. This was also on Friday, and there was actually former cheerleaders that were calling into the show saying that this was Snyder's revenge for the Washington Post story, for the cheerleading scandal. What do you think about that, Rick?
Well, I think it's semantics too about who was fired because they had expiring contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me of Dan Snyder liked to say he fired Matt Turk after that loss to Tampa in the playoffs of '99 when his brother Dan blew the snap. He loved saying we fired Matt Turk. No, his contract expired. Okay, so you're not firing anybody. You just don't agree to re-sign them, and that's happened with players and coaches. So it kind of happened to them too. The cheerleaders were almost 60 years in the making. When they first brought the cheerleaders in, George Preston Marshall was really more focused on the band, and the cheerleaders were dressed in squall outfits, and they would kind of escort the band onto the field. They really weren't, anything great until Dan Snyder took over, and he basically said, sex them up. And, then it became a dance troupe too, which I have seen. They're really good. I don't watch them during the games as much. It's hard for me. I'm watching a game, but clearly he wanted to take a shot back at him. That's Dan Snyder for you. He loves to retaliate on these kind of things. I've seen that firsthand. So I think it's a shame, but I think they'll come back in some form. I mean, they already, it sounds like a college thing where, the men aren't dancing. They're lifting the women up real high over everybody's heads and that kind of stuff. But I think eventually it'll come back to its own, maybe in a couple years.
Rick, do you think that the team knew, because this situation happened so abruptly, the on pause? I mean, it came out of nowhere in our eyes because, it was a story that was released and it was on pause and it was super abrupt. So, do you think that the team, by any chance, the front office had an idea that leaks would be put out, with, the Beth Wilkerson investigation, that they wanted to make an immediate change to show that they're still trying to change the culture of the team?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely on that. I mean, the allegations of, the video and proper things with the women and all, they're trying to run from those allegations. That's the key thing against them. And there's still lawsuits that were out about that. So I think they tried to do something very simple. Instead of just getting rid of them, they said, we're going to change it and make it this wholesome family, sis boom, bah, kind of old things from the 50s, things like that. I think they're just deflecting. It's another smoke and mirrors move.
So is Jason Wright taking the fall for this one?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is Jason Wright taking the fall for this one?
Well, I guess technically he is, but everybody knows it's the real source.
Got it. Makes sense. Shelley, since you're out there, when we're on this topic, do you
Yes.
have any questions for Rick in regards to the cheerleader situation?
Well, I guess one of my questions, I think, Rick, would be, do you think that, I mean, you say you feel like it came from Dan ultimately, correct?
Right. I mean, Dan makes all the decisions like this in the building.
Uh-huh. And so with it being an abrupt decision, like Keith said, do you feel like, and you said you feel like the program's going to come back, correct?
Yeah, I think they'll be back in some part. I mean, because they're very popular. I mean, the dance troupe, I forget, the Women of Washington, maybe they're called.
The first ladies. Yeah.
They do a lot of great charity work.
Yeah, they're
Yes, they do.
ambassadors. I mean, literally, they go out in the community. They do a lot for the community. I feel.
Yeah, they're. I've seen them at a number of events. They also go overseas and entertain military. And so they do a lot of good stuff. And I think there's nothing wrong with having them back. And really cheerleaders too. I mean, there are people who like to watch the cheerleaders and go along with it, and that's fine. I'm sitting up so high and everything, I can barely see them.
Right.
But they do serve a purpose. Now, you just can't be, leering old men and treating them poorly. I mean, that's just ridiculous that this is going on. I was even surprised at all the stuff that supposedly came out on this. And I think they've had some lawsuits that were settled with non-disclosures.
Well, yeah. I think for me, if say players per se would have filed lawsuits against the franchise, against Dan, or how the cheerleaders did, it's not like the team would have been let go, right?
Right. Well,
disbanded. The team wouldn't have been disbanded, correct? But
right. Let's say there was a player whose contract was expiring and he got into a domestic abuse or something, or drug problem, they wouldn't re-sign him. They'd let him go too. So
well, I know, but we have a whole cheerleader, we have the whole squad being disbanded and being turned into something else. It's not like they were saying the first ladies are going to be, we're bringing Petra in to take over the first ladies of Washington, and they're going to be turned into something else. They're completely disbanded. They're no longer the first ladies of Washington.
Right. But I want to understand, maybe I'm being naive about this, they can reapply. I mean, their contracts were over, we're starting something new, and they're free to apply. And I don't know if any of them will do it or not, or be chosen or anything. It is a rebooting. I think it definitely is wrong in what's happened here.
It is demeaning, I think. And it's very demeaning to have it completely dismantled the way that it was, I feel.
Look at the money. Like did they pay them? They paid them like something, $10 or something a game.
I know it's not. I know cheerleaders. I think everybody except for the Cowboys cheerleaders don't really get paid.
I thought they made. I thought I looked it up, and they made pretty good.
When I researched it, it was $150 a game and $75 per outside appearance.
Oh wow, that's better than I would have thought years ago.
Yeah.
And
not bad.
NFL teams, basically the money goes to the players and coaches, and everyone else, eats soup. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Everybody else gets Zippo. So, and if you don't like it, there's a line a mile long that'll take your job, and they know that. So, I've seen interns, I've seen young employees that are making less than 30 grand. This is teams that are making billions, but it's like a lot of companies that exploit their workers. I mean, we hear about Jeff Bezos maybe be the next owner, but look at what's going on in his warehouses and such. That's rich people for you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I would have to think that they would open up, the jobs for the cheerleaders. I mean, that to totally close the new gig off to them, I would think they would have first dibs on trying to try out for the new team.
I believe that there's a plan. I just believe that the plan hasn't been talked about, and that's the biggest confusion. But again, that's way above our pay scales of understanding. So
yeah.
I just think at this point, with this situation, which I can understand, I can understand the argument on both sides. It's just one of those, culture is changing. Let's figure out how they're going to make things, let's let them have some time to breathe and do what they're going to do to continue, this culture change. We got to give that a chance. We can't throw people in the trash can because one situation, happened to where a lot of people aren't, agreeing with it, is the way that I personally see it. So, we can definitely move on, from this one with Rick.
Yeah. All right. Before we let you go, Rick, I just want to talk about one more thing. As Alex Smith finally got his release on Friday. It was the best for both sides in my eyes. Where do you see us going from here with our quarterback situation?
I think they're definitely looking for a quarterback who's been around a few years, who's been mostly a backup, but maybe can be a spot starter like that, like a Mariota. I think Mariota's better than people think he is. Maybe they go for Darnold if you can get Darnold a third. In the NFL, so much, especially on quarterbacks, depends upon the system that you're put in. And you're not allowed in the beginning, you're drafted. So you're not allowed to pick something that works for you. And you would be shocked how many teams pick a guy that's not a right fit for them. And they think, well, we can change him, and it doesn't work. That's what's happened to Mariota a lot. And so I think Scott Turner did a good job last year adapting to 4 different quarterbacks. He showed me something there. So I think they can adapt to whomever they wish. But if you're a player, you really need to look at not I'm desperately needing a job, but can this work for me here? Given last year, I think they showed the flexibility to adapt to a quarterback. So I think they'll find that guy. But I also wouldn't be surprised if a second round pick is a quarterback if somebody falls to him. I don't see the first. I think the first going receiver, outside linebacker, or corner on there. There's not a lot of great receivers in this draft, but there are a lot of quarterbacks you could get second round if they like them. So I think those two will come. Taylor Heineke. Well, okay. From what I've seen of Taylor Heineke, he's great, but
he just can't stay on the field.
I mean, defensive coordinators are going to spend 6 months watching that film, and there's a reason he wasn't in the league. But then again, Kurt Warner went from bagging groceries to the Super Bowl, so it does happen. I'm
one in a million.
I say give it a shot. And Kyle Allen, they'll probably re-sign. So I think you have 4, and I think you need 4 because we're making great strides on the pandemic, but it's not going to be gone by September. And you need that 4th guy, that you can have, because look what happened this year. They needed the 4th guy, get people off the street. So I think they'll carry 4 quarterbacks this time.
Now, Rick, when you say second round, who do you think that they would target in that round?
I think who falls to them. Quarterbacks are so hard to tell.
They are.
Everybody downplays them. It's a game. Oh yeah, those guys. And then when it's time to go, everybody rushes up and grabs people.
Yeah.
So, they all lie. It's this time of year, you can't believe a damn thing you hear because everybody's positioning on this. It's all liar's poker. But
Absolutely.
I think they're not going to take 6 quarterbacks in the first round this year. And will somebody be left by number 19, or do they get up in the second round to go for them? I think there's a few guys that they could look at.
Do you think that Ron Rivera has the ability to draft a quarterback and get a bridge guy and continue to be successful as a coach? I mean, I know that we're going into year 2, but the lifespan of a lifespan of a coach doesn't last that long if you're not successful. Do you think that he can sustain success with that, method without getting a true QB1?
Yeah, I think that's a game plan for right now. I mean, hey, he's got an NFC East title in his pocket. Even if it was 7-9, it still is a playoff season. I thought he did a great job for a guy that had cancer the first half of the season fighting.
Yeah.
He should have been coach of the year.
I agree 100%. I thought he should have got more.
Yeah, the guy from Cleveland had a team sitting on a playoff berth. He's coach of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Rivera deserved much more recognition for sure.
He's the best coach they've had since Schottenheimer.
I agree.
And that includes Joe's second tour. And so I think he has a lot of cachet. It's a coach-centric team. So if you blow this up, you're blowing up a whole lot. And I think Snyder's not, This isn't one of his hot days early in his career when Snyder got rid of Norm before the end of the year. Then he got rid of Marty after a year. I think he's gotten better about that. I mean, hey, he had Gruden for what, 6 years, like that, and Shannon for 4 years. So he had to change people like he did his first years. So I think he's going to find that bridge quarterback, try and grow your first rounder, and hopefully in 2 years that kid's ready, and keep going. And this defense always gives them a chance to win, and that line's got to be reworked. And that Payne and Allen will be free agents next year, so you're gonna have to make some choices. Probably keep one of the two, and then Sweat comes up the next year. So your window is always limited. That's the NFL way. That keeps NFL balanced. So much because the salary cap's going to come down 20 million this year because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
You're going to see a boatload of free agents suddenly come up in the next week, and that's when you suddenly go free agent shopping. I don't think we have a clue who they're getting for in free agency because they don't know who's going to market yet.
Yeah.
But it's coming. It's going to be a real interesting thing.
There's going to be some big names that are going to be out there and available for probably a pretty good price too.
Well, usually a lot of rumors start around this time too, and it's been very quiet in the Rumorville Central.
Yeah, I just think everybody's kind of waiting to see what happens next. I don't know. I think I don't know that they'll get a free agent quarterback, maybe. You probably should, but I think they're going to try and find a receiver in there and a linebacker. I mean, if they're going to spend their money, maybe it's a linebacker really more than a receiver. The value would be better. They haven't really re-signed any of their own guys yet. I mean, Sheriff hasn't been re-signed. Darby hasn't been re-signed. So I'm a little surprised by all that too, but part of it is they don't have a hard cap number yet.
Yeah.
And if I'm a free agent, I sign 1 year because next year will be the new TV contract money, which they're getting ready to do. Amazon's going to pay a boatload of money to stream games, and that's when you get your money back. So you don't want to sign a 4-year deal because you'll screw yourself out of a lot of money. So I expect to see a lot of 1-year deals with teams.
One more quick one. Do we tag Sheriff or do we let him walk?
The tag is what, 19 million, I think?
I think 18.
Wow.
It's a lot.
I think you let him walk at 18.
Yeah,
I'd do a long term at 15. 15 would still be the most anybody's getting.
Yeah, I still think that. I'm still on the fence about that. That's still a lot of money for a guard. And grant you, yes, he made All-Pro, our first All-Pro in a very, very long time. Do I think he was the best guard last year? No, I don't. But his injury issues are a big red flag to me. So, I mean, I would probably pay the 15 million just because homegrown talent is the best talent that you could get. But still, that's a rough number for a right guard.
And I think he might take it at 15 million. I think what you have to look at here too with this deal is Brandon, to me, I don't feel was a Bruce Allen guy. In my opinion. And so because of that, I think that he wanted to really take this year to fill out this new staff to see how he felt, how comfortable he was going to be. And, I think that that's going to be his decision-making process, right there. I think he also understands that, he has also had injuries as well. So I think, him and his asking price, I think is going to be a little high, but I just feel like that, the team is going to be able to negotiate that sweet spot, to have him sign back. That's, what I think.
Hey, if I knew he could stay healthy, I'd be okay with 15 million. It's just not knowing. And, he's had some major injuries. He definitely has. So Rick,
you're a lineman, man. Those linemen are in there popping each other.
Right.
Look at Moses. I mean, he falls down every game ready to die, and then he gets back.
It gets right back up, though. He's a tough SOB, that's for sure.
Man, I'll tell you what.
So much better. Moses has gotten so much better.
Yeah, he played very well last year.
Yeah,
he definitely has.
I'll tell you what. When I got to be on field, before the game, and actually kind of, because I'm no small guy. I mean, I'm a tall guy. 6'2", 6'3". I tell everyone 6'4", just to sound even cooler. But just the size of that man. And so I'm real careful with what I say about Morgan Moses, because it's like, everyone's quick to get on him when he makes mistakes, but they do praise him when he does well. But when he makes mistakes, and I'm thinking, that's a large man. I'm pretty certain that everything these people are saying on Twitter would not say that to that man's face. So I always think about that every time something with Moses comes up.
And even the most amazing part of these guys, as big as they are, is how fast they are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Their agility, boom. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I was teasing Daryl Green the other day about it. I said, you're standing next to Daryl and you look up and he's at midfield and you're thinking, how the hell did you get so far? It's just boom. But the agility on players, like when you're on the sidelines, people always would get mad at camp. They're like, you have to kneel or sit down on the sidelines so they can see. No, it's dangerous as hell because they can be on you in a second. Yeah. And I've learned if they are staying where you are, they will go around you.
Uh-oh. Looks like Rick froze up a little bit. Oh, there we go.
Unbelievable.
Even 300 pounders are in shape. You don't see fat guys anymore at 300 pounds in the NFL. They're amazing. So when they leave the game, like one day I see Mark Saref in the hotel lobby. I walk right by him, don't recognize him because he's lost like 100 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
There's guys like that. I mean, a Derek Smith, who was an offensive lineman out of Virginia Tech, saw him a year later. It's like he comes out like, who the hell is this? Because they either get really fat or you get really thin, usually one or the other. I've seen both, but it's amazing the size that these men have.
Yeah,
how fast they can go. Like Stephen Davis, I'm next to him on a treadmill one day talking to him. He's running it at 15 miles an hour. Okay, that's pretty fast.
Right.
I can't run 15 miles an hour downhill. Guys they're just amazing athletes.
Yeah.
More than anything. So, that's the part. Unless you're down on the field, you can't appreciate what it's like, even versus the stands. Certainly not on TV. But if you're up against them up close, you're like, wow. It's amazing. You see guys that like 6'10". And they can't get low enough. They're not. That's the hard part. Offensive linemen, we've had guys like 6'10", but they can't get the low enough crouch and they can't get the leverage because of that.
Yeah.
So what happened? What happened with Hainsworth then?
Oh gosh.
He's just lazy.
Yeah.
Hainsworth. The great thing about talking to Hainsworth in the locker room is he would do this crazy stuff, say all this crazy stuff, and then when he turn around after get ready for you, he would go, "What are you talking about? Not me." I mean, he's dead with a straight face. I wasn't laying down. He's just the straightest face ever.
That's all he did was lay down.
That was one of the worst mistakes, if not the worst mistake that signing that we've ever made. Oh gosh.
Yep, agreed.
Well, Rick, before we let you go, what you got coming down the pipeline?
Well, I am on social media. I have Twitter. The Rick Snider's Washington. It's 2 minutes because that's all Twitter gives you. Where I talk weekdays about different topics, and that's become pretty popular. And then I decided to create like what you would call a premium content channel on YouTube, Rick Snider's Washington, but it's free. It doesn't cost anything. The thing is, and I'm very honest about this, the pandemic's really hurt me, and I need the advertising money from YouTube to help. And you think after all these years you wouldn't, but it happens. Pandemics hurt a lot of us. Yeah. So if I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can get I can share in the YouTube advertising world, which you won't get rich, but I have a friend, his son plays video games on YouTube and makes hundreds a month. So I tell a lot of old stories on the YouTube only channel. They're longer, 5 or 6 minutes long. I mean, I just told one about an intern who worked for Lombardi. Lombardi got mad at him, cussed him out, told him he was a loser. The guy went on to become the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff for the U.S. Army and still put Redskins on his resume and was still proud how Lombardi chewed him out.
Right.
Great stories like that. They're in there. And there's a lot of these things because I've been around so long. I know these stories. So I think that's the funner part. But the Twitter and Facebook are on there too. So I'm trying to do a little TV work, so to speak, on this and hopefully get a little money out of YouTube. And
there you go.
No.
Well, I do want to tell you too. I do love your give me 2 minutes on Twitter.
Yeah,
I think I think that's genius. I think no one else has done it before, and it's a quick snapshot of you to be able to talk about whatever is going on, in the news, but also, potentially share some, quick stories as well. It's a good lead into your YouTube channel. So we know you're going to be successful. So just keep it up. I really do like it. I love how it's different.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I talk also about, I try to do something sports, and sometimes I don't talk Redskins for once, and I still call them that because I tell old stories. But, I talk about stuff in the city you can go see. If I find out something good about pizza, we'll talk about that.
Love
And
it.
hopefully this fall, when the pandemic ends, I'm also a licensed tour guide in town. I'm going to have my pizza and pigskins tours where
Nice.
basically people pay, we'll go see a couple things in Georgetown, and then we'll go eat pizza for a while and talk about whatever you want.
Love it.
So
Awesome.
people wanted to do that for a long time, but we can't because of the
Yeah.
virus. But
Yeah.
the better days are coming ahead, and we're going to get to that this fall.
Awesome. Well, again, Rick, we really appreciate you joining us, man, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, buddy.
Have a good night, Rick.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Hi,
bye.
Rick.
Yeah,
Bye.
if y'all don't follow Rick Snider, you can catch him out at Snide _ remarks on Twitter. He's a good follow. He's got great information. Well, guys, we heard from Rick, his thoughts of the stuff that came out of Ashburn Park. Now let's get our thoughts on it. And Shelly, I want to start with you. And I know you have a take on the cheerleading situation that's going on. What are your thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, for me, it was just another tradition I hated to see go. It was hard enough seeing the name change. And then for this to just, for it to be put on pause, and then for it to just, 50 plus year, as Rick just said, almost 60 year tradition just to kind of go away so easily. To me, for me, I had twins. So I have a boy and a girl, twins. So growing up, I had a little football player and I had a little cheerleader, and now what are we going to have? Like little girls in leotards. I don't know what the future holds. Like, what is this going to look like? I don't know what it's going to look like. And even my dog, my female dog, has a little Redskins cheerleader outfit, so I just don't know what it's going to look like going forward. And it makes me sad. It's just one more tradition that's gone.
Yeah.
And it's not just little cheerleader outfits. It's not just little cheerleader outfit for my dog. It's really a past thing that's always been there. I mean, I remember even being competitive with the Dallas cheerleaders. I was like, come on, we need better outfits because theirs is looking too good, I'm like, come on, let's, but even so, like, they were brand ambassadors going out in the community, doing good things. I never thought I would be, I was never a cheerleader growing up. I never really liked cheerleaders. I'm not into Miss America and all of that, Yeah. I never thought I would be, pushing for them. It's just, there's not a lot of female representation in the NFL. And then to have ours kind of changed in this way so abruptly is just sad to me.
Shelley,
and I know they're still there. I get that they're still there. I get it. It's in a different way. It's just that this tradition has it's just ended.
Yeah.
And so, that makes me sad.
That's totally understandable. Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Shelley, so, obviously, I'm definitely happy that you wanted to, come on and talk on the show because you were definitely very, very vocal from the moment that it got out that this happened.
Yeah.
I think that there were a lot of folks that were at first confused
Definitely. Yes.
There were multiple cheerleaders tweeting. There was
Mhm.
different information going on. And I think that because people were not transparent, one of the cheerleaders was not transparent on exactly what they meant in their tweet. It led folks to believe that they were told that they were being let go, and how they found out was on Twitter.
Correct.
And it was later on during the day that we find out from another cheerleader that that was not the case, that, they were told differently. And so I think what happened is all of the true feelings got lost in just trying to figure out what exactly happened.
Right.
And, for you and I went back and forth, and we did not agree whatsoever.
No.
On the situation, and that's okay, because like you said, if everyone agreed, it'd be a boring world.
Correct.
Sure.
But I will say this: I did have a strong stance on it, because I don't share the same passion for cheerleaders the way other people would.
Right.
Also, when I reacted, I did not react in thinking that these ladies were ambassadors, did a lot of charity work, that type of stuff. I was just looking at the direct situation at hand. And what angered me, I wouldn't even say anger, but what made me step back and be like, whoa, what is going on here, was the fact that there wasn't transparency from to begin with. I think, Jesse, and you would probably agree too, I think we can all agree that there could have been a different way to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then
100%.
my question to you is, Shelley,
Mhm.
what would that be in your eyes, in a female perspective? What could they have done differently?
Well, first off, I will say it really reads as a retaliatory move. I mean, the cheerleaders, filing a lawsuit, they didn't do anything wrong. I mean, they were filmed without their knowledge, correct?
Sure.
I
Sure,
mean,
absolutely.
so, I have to say, having a daughter, if that was my daughter, no matter the age, I would want to kick somebody's butt. No lying, so right there, there's, I have to say, it just reads retaliatory.
Now, are we being retaliatory towards what to
The
the
program?
Women? Okay.
You're removing. So you're saying in the program, you're renaming it, making a dance team, and making it co-ed. So after a lawsuit, so you're making it read as you're removing the temptation. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't get it.
It's a PR move. It's the reason why I asked Rick Snider the question, and I'm glad he answered it honestly. It was an obvious PR move. I do believe that those two recommendations from what the junkies passed out are correct recommendations, but I think that people fail to realize that recommendations are like assholes. Everyone has them. Okay. It doesn't mean that those recommendations are going to be followed through. And again, people want to know the penalty, but don't want to know the reasoning behind it. And to me, I think that we need to be careful in a legal standpoint, because I have to tell you, I believe the junkies got information. And the reason is because so did I. Now, I'm a no one, right? I'm a nobody. I'm literally a guy sitting on the couch. I am no one special. So therefore, I had tweeted out to JP with this information. And I had given more detail than even what the junkies had given, as far as what is believed is going to come at the end of this whole supposed investigation, right? So it's out there. Someone knows, someone's talking, and then the information is spreading, right? So in my personal opinion, when you go on pause, you're basically saying, okay, now we've got to change everything, right? So retaliatory, maybe, possibly, and could be, but in the sense, this was something that, in my opinion, probably needed to happen anyways. in the sense of this is not protecting ladies because guys can't keep their eyes to themselves. But I also do believe that if we are going to change the culture and we're going to change everything about this team, the cheerleaders have to go too. And you have to create a way that's going to get, you're going to have to create something that is going to be visually exciting at the games for people. It's entertainment. And no offense to any cheerleader and no offense to any woman whatsoever, but the cheerleading program for any team, in my opinion, does not get the fans at games cheering. Okay. And that's the way that I look at it. It's nothing against their abilities.
Well, that's your opinion, Keith. I mean, a lot of people like the cheerleader, like the first ladies of Washington. A lot of fans liked having their pictures taken with them. A lot of them loved the first ladies of Washington. And a lot of, I mean, just because you don't care for cheerleaders doesn't mean that everybody feels that way.
Sure, they love them before game because they're a part of a team. They're a part of something that makes fans believe that they have an opportunity to take a picture with someone who represents a team that they love. But when we're talking about,
they put out the calendar.
But game day experience. I'm talking game day experience.
They were down on the field. They were down on the field talking
doing
with
what?
fans.
Doing what? Half the fans are buying beer during halftime.
No, they cheered, they danced. What are they going to be doing any differently than this dance team? I'm just trying to figure out what are they doing any differently.
I think that's a great question that should be asked.
Yep. Listen,
I just want to know what they're going to be doing differently. That's what I want to know.
Let me jump into this for a moment. I don't have necessarily a side to this argument, so to speak. I'm still on the fence about it. I don't have enough information for me to pass judgment. I see both sides of your arguments. And to be honest, at first I didn't think this was a Daniel Snider move. I thought this was a Jason Wright move.
Me too.
Trying
at first
to kind of do some more cleansing, so to speak, and either Jason Wright and a Ron Rivera move. And maybe it is, but I kind of lean towards, especially after hearing Rick talk about it, that, it could be a Snyder move, which, I still don't know.
Breaking news, by the way. Dak got his deal.
Son of a bitch.
Damn.
Son of a bitch.
Cowboys announced, this all came from Albert Breer. Adam Schefter. Cowboys announced they've agreed to a new contract with quarterback Dak Prescott. That's a wrap, folks.
Well, take one off the table.
Oh, but sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, breaking news. That's fine. That's great.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah, it just shot me in the heart a little bit.
I know. I'm glad I'm drinking a beer while we're talking, just so you know. Right? That's sad.
Yeah, the cheerleaders, man. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've had my picture taken with them before, but during the games, I don't really think about them. During halftime or in quarters or anything, I am going to go get another beer or getting something to eat.
Right, sure.
But the fact of the matter of all the charitable work that they do, that has to go on in some capacity. It has to. Yeah. Because they do a lot for the community.
He said doo-doo.
Yeah.
They do a lot for the community. And I just hope that they open up this new co-ed dance program that they're starting to the cheerleaders first and foremost, to give them the opportunity to be a part of it and kind of carry on that tradition in a way that it was. I know it's not going to be the same. I do understand Keith's point that something had to happen, because it did. It may have not needed to be.
Why don't you? But why? See, that's where I don't understand. I don't understand that, because that to me is like victim blaming or shaming.
No, it's through listen,
I
okay.
kind of look at it as like it's almost a stain on the franchise, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like the cheerleaders are a stain.
Right,
I
but
think it's a reminder of the dirt that they've.
Okay. Also there's two different type. Well, okay, let me not act like I'm a cheerleader expert. Okay, there's definitely two types of cheerleading as well. Okay, you have the cheerleaders that are at games that are just tossing pom poms, maybe a quick little toss here and there, maybe holding up signs, really trying to get the crowd pumped up. And then you have your cheerleading competitions that are maneuvers and stuff that would never happen during actual football games, especially in high school and in college. Those competitions, they work very hard. They're tremendous, not to say that the other girls are not tremendous athletes, but what you see, during those competitions are things that I cannot do and a lot of us cannot do. So I highly, I'm highly on board with saying, wow to that type of stuff. And I think that that's the type of stuff that should come to the NFL games, which also could be, required, with the dancing aspect of it as well. But let's not beat around the bush here. Cheerleaders wear skimpy outfits for a reason. Okay. It's also the sex appeal. And, if people say, no, that's not the case, stop it. That's been the case for many, 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 many years. It's just, we're in a time frame now where we need to be honest with ourselves, and we need to say that, when it's something nice to look at, people are watching, but they're not watching for the talents of those girls. They're watching they're watching other things. And I mean, I don't know. I've been in numerous situations where, you hear comments that are being made from fans in the stands. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it's every fan that's at the game, but those comments are there. And that's why I say that this needs to happen, because I think that dance team is going to actually provide routines that are going to show how amazing women are. And I just don't think tossing pom-poms and shaking them around is really showing that. So
it's no different. They danced as well. I mean, the dance team is not going to be any different. And as far as their bodies being shown, the same thing. I mean, there's no difference between the dance team and what the cheerleaders did. I'm telling you right now, there's not going to be much difference. They had a co-ed dance team. They were called the R team. So
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that, Shelley.
They had all of that. I mean, everything that you're saying, they already had. They could have incorporated them. They could have included them.
They're going to. They're giving them the opportunity to try out. So why do we keep saying that they're not included? They are included. It's just not in that similar type of program. But maybe that the dance team is still going to carry on, the same, type of traditions. It's the same BS that we're being told, Shelley, about the name change. Well, the name's retired, but we're still going to carry on the same traditions. And
right.
we have to live with that. So now we have to live with the same scenario when it comes to the cheerleaders.
It's
a
bad situation.
It was the way it was handled.
Yes.
I think it was the way it was handled. Saying it was put on pause, and then the way I think it was just handled and the way it all went down. I think they obviously could have handled it better.
Sure.
Absolutely. I think we can all agree.
Absolutely.
On that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Shelley, I'll say this too. I'll say this too and be absolutely transparent. When you mentioned the term tradition, okay, and I messaged you about this earlier.
Sure.
You definitely had me backing down from my stance, because what you said wasn't any different on how I feel about the name change. Yep. And you have, I don't want to say passion, because, I don't know, like, how you truly feel about.
Oh, I do. I mean, I'm very passionate about the name change and
I'm talking about the program. I'm talking about the cheerleading program. Like,
no, I'm very passionate just about our franchise in general.
Absolutely.
I mean, they could have.
I think that I think that my issue, sorry, Jesse,
No, you're
I
good.
think that my thing is this, Shelley, is
Sure.
you're 100% correct. What's sad here is that a 50-year tradition got taken away. And I think it got taken away for the wrong reasons. But now we're being told you have to live with it. And so for me, in my own vindictive way, I'm kind of like, well, this is what I'm being told about the name change. So if you think that I'm going to have, if you think I'm going to have sympathy for, you know, a cheerleading program, I don't, because we have to do what we have to do. We're being forced, okay, to have to like this, basically, is what we're all being told, whether it be cheerleaders, whether it be the name change, we're being forced. And a lot of people are conforming more than they are fighting for something. And I think it's because they feel like they don't have an outlet. So what I respected about you was you weren't afraid to go to toe with me and disagreeing. And I think that, you know, again, your win here with me was when you said tradition, because it actually made me think and say, you know what, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. A tradition got, you know, taken away. And I think that that's the sad part here is. And I think that right now, what Jason Wright and what Julie and what all these people that are preaching this and doing this culture change, take what they've read on Twitter, all that negativity, and they truly figure out how they can turn this around to be positive.
Right.
And hopefully those women that did all that wonderful work during the games, charity work, you know, after games, they're always taking pictures with fans. They were all super friendly. Okay. And I hope that they have an opportunity to bring something to the table for this new program. And I hope from there, you know, things do get better. But I do think that the question you asked earlier, like how are you going to be different from the current program? Because now you've taken away something. How are you going to make this one better? Because right now it's looking like it's, you know, it's retaliatory, and we need to see a difference when it comes to that. You need to show us that it was not retaliatory and that these women are going to benefit from this, because you can't preach female empowerment and then go and fire people.
Exactly. Well, it wasn't really firing, as you said, but I get that. But yes, exactly. I mean, especially, I mean, I feel like it could have been a better, it could have been done better, especially during Women's History Month, right? And here we are on Women's International Day, discussing this, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate you having me on. You know, I am third generation fan. I'm passing on my fandom to my kids. You know, this means a lot to me. I have a son, daughter, like I said. This means the world to me. Like when I die, I'm probably going to be buried in my Redskins gear.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. I am too.
I'm not lying.
I've already made a will. I've already made a will.
I've already discussed it with my family. I will be buried in my Art Monk
damn right,
you know, jersey. Yeah. So I have gear that I've already discussed with my family. That's how serious I take this. So I'm passing this down. I want my team to get this right for my daughter, for my granddaughters, etc. You know, down the line, this means the world to me that they get this right. So I don't want to get choked up, but it does. It means a lot to me. You know, that what's gone on with the culture, with Dan, you know, with the sexual harassment allegations is, you know, it means a lot to me. I've been sexually harassed within the workforce at, you know, right out of high school. And I don't want to see it. This kind of stuff just shouldn't happen anymore.
You're right.
It just shouldn't. We're in the year 2021. It just shouldn't happen.
You're absolutely right about that. To go off topic just for a second again, some new details came out, and you just check this out. In Dak's first year, he's getting $75 million in his first freaking year. It's a $66 million signing bonus. Okay. And it is 126 million guaranteed in a 4-year deal. 75 million. It's 66 million signing bonus. Can you believe that shit? Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Jack got paid.
He did.
Well, you know what? Keith's Corner was going to be on Dak Prescott, Fuck that guy.
I was about to segue to Keith's corner.
Listen.
Are we going to go? Is it time? Is it time?
It's time because
Okay.
I can still make it relative.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we have our second installment of the segment, Keith's Corner. Well, Keith gets to say whatever the hell he wants. I have no idea what's about to come out of his mouth. So buyer beware. Keith, you got the mic, man.
So I got a couple things here, actually. I'm going to start off with the junkies allegations when it comes to Beth, you know, what is it? Wilkerson,
Yep.
whatever her name is. All right. So first things first. I don't want to say that that what the junkies read was bullshit. I do believe that they were told something. What I find interesting though is we are so quick, right, to, I guess, and this is an easy one because when it comes to Dan Snider, no one likes the guy. Okay. All these allegations that have come through, your organization's running around slapping females' asses, talking to females however they want, completely disrespectful. If you are a good owner, you know what the fuck is going on in your business. And if you don't know what the fuck is going on in your business, you're a shitty owner, right? Here's the problem that I have with the two recommendations. First things first, good luck trying to get the man to sell his team, okay? That's not going to get forced, okay? 2/3 vote, not going to happen. As much as people think that they want it to happen, guess what? Daniel Snyder is a shield, okay? So Daniel Snyder is going to catch shit for as long as he's with the Redskins, Washington football team. So they're going to use him as a shield to deflect on what's happening in their organizations. And if you don't think these organizations elsewhere aren't cleaning up their fucking shit that's going on there, you got another thing coming. We just don't care. We don't pay attention. So we're not paying attention to Patriots Twitter to know that there's some cleanup behind, their owner getting jerked off at a massage parlor or whatever it was, right? I'm sure
a rub and tug.
He's getting happy ending.
Happy ending. I'm sure there's a lot more to that definitely got cleaned up. I'm sure this type of shit happens all the time in all these organizations. And guess what? Dan Snyder is your fall guy. So no chance that they're going to force this man out because he's going to be the human shield. Now, I find a ridiculous talking about recommendation to suspend Snyder while they continue, or while they the word didn't even say continue, while they change the infrastructure within the organization. They fucking did that shit last year. Okay, they hired Julie. She is a woman. They're hiring a diverse group of people. They're hiring all these different people. They fired all the people who were done wrong. Okay. And I'm going to throw this in here. If y'all think Kyle Smith was innocent in a lot of this shit, he hung around, but he was still a part of that regime that definitely needed to go. So I'm not saying Kyle Smith did anything, but I'm telling you, they wanted to rid of everyone that they potentially could to try to get this organization cleaned up with new smiling faces, right? So that's happened. So tell me, the fuck you gonna suspend an owner for? What are you suspending him for? What does that mean? That means nothing. And so these recommendations mean absolutely nothing. I can recommend somebody to contact, anybody and say, hey, they're a good painter. Call them over, they do a good job. Doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean they're going to call them, right? That's
Angie's list, right? Angie's list.
Exactly.
Recommendations.
Exactly. So recommendations mean nothing. So what I want to find out is based upon these recommendations, based upon what was investigated, based upon what we already know, is that why those two things were recommended? Because I have to tell you, that's pretty weak within itself. Okay. But the information that was told to me at the same time with this is that there is no evidence, okay, that Snyder was involved with any of this. So therefore, those two recommendations, for what? What are you recommending? That he's a bad owner? That he should have known what was going on? Sure. At the end of the day, Daniel Snyder sucks, but he ain't going anywhere. Now, I want to move on to the next Keith rant, and I'm going to make this one short because it doesn't matter at this point. Because as far as I'm concerned, Dak Prescott is one of the shittiest quarterbacks I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't fucking believe that anybody thinks that this guy would come in here and be able to do something. Are you fucking kidding me? This guy came off of a fucking leg injury, okay? This guy wasn't gonna do shit. And at the same time, he played for Dallas, so fuck him. Anyways, with that being said, I will say this. Washington football team / Redskins Twitter need to chill the fuck out. Okay. Dak is worth, I don't want to say he's worth what he's getting paid. Okay. But Dak is worth money. The reason why Dak is worth money is because he's a good quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. You don't have to chase and find your future when you have a Dak Prescott on your team, right? Dak Prescott is also young and he's just good. So for people to sit there and say that he sucks, he's this, he's that, you're fucking crazy. Are you delusional? I mean, we haven't had a quarterback in how many fucking years, right? And we have the nerve to talk about Dak as trash. Our current roster is Heineke and Allen. If we don't do something at the QB1 position, we're screwed. And I'm sorry, but Darnold, Mariota, Jameis Winston, your mama, your brother, your cousin ain't it either. Okay. So we need to figure something out. Now, do we do bridge quarterback? What fucking for? Like at this point, like enough is enough. We are in win now mode. I am tired of being a fucking loser and you should too. So for anyone who tells me that Dak ain't worth the money, you might as well just log out of Twitter and call it a wraps, or you might as well just go rewatch WandaVision and comment on that shit because I don't want to hear shit that you have to say. But
preach.
But with that being said, wish us the best of luck because our QB1 is still Taylor Heineke, and the fact that fucking people still think that guy is going to be our QB1 is absolutely mind-blowing. But anyways, that's my fucking rant. I will carry on. I'm currently getting trashed on Twitter right now, so now I got to flip the switch and be like, fuck Dak, he sucks.
There you have it. If you have any issues with what Keith said, his
like Heineke,
Twitter handle.
Look, still like Heineke.
I like Heineke too. I just don't like him as QB1. I think he's the perfect backup for this football team. And I want him on the team. I'm glad that we signed him. We signed him at a very good, reasonable deal for a backup quarterback. And as of right now, he's not only our QB1, he's our only QB because Kyle Allen hasn't signed yet. They haven't.
I don't know why we have both of them. I feel like they cancel one another out.
I tend to agree with you. And if we signed a free agent quarterback, I still have a feeling that we might draft one. And if we do so, Allen's not going to get signed.
I don't understand why.
Unless he wants to go on the practice squad. I don't see Steven Montez coming back. He basically almost crapped himself on live TV when he thought he had to go in on the playoff game. You saw it. It looked like he was pooping his pants on live TV. He doesn't have it. I don't see him back at all. So for
our quarterback situation's pretty, I don't know. It's bad. And I don't like the names being thrown around.
Unfortunately, that's what's out there. I'd rather have a Mariota for a year as a bridge than a Cam Newton. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my gosh. Don't get me started on Cam Newton.
No, trust me. We've had plenty of arguments about it. And Keith, my man Keith, actually flipped the script on me a couple of weeks ago on his thoughts on Cam Newton, but we're not going to get into that right now.
Right.
We're not going to get into that right now. Some stuff is coming right around the corner. It is starting the frenzy time of the football year. They're saying that they might push the tag back possibly. I think they might wait until they figure out what the salary cap is going to be. So that's going to be interesting. What's going to happen with Brandon Sheriff? I got to tell you, 15 million, that's a lot of money for a guard that's often injured. I'm going to be honest. I know it's probably not the popular take, but man, that's a lot of daggone money.
When do you think that gets resolved?
They're working on it right now. I think
Mhm.
we can say that comfortably. I just hope he doesn't play on the tag. If he's tagged, I want him tagged and traded. I don't want him playing on $18 million this year. I'm sorry.
That's
It's
a hell
just
of a lot
it's
of money.
too much money.
That's ridiculous.
So
Yeah.
the smart move here, I think, ultimately, and this is what I tried saying earlier, last year we were kind of quiet in free agency, right? I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen here as well. I mean, we didn't blow all the money last year. We definitely aren't going to blow all this money this year. I think what we are going to do, though, is we are going to sign some contracts. I mean, I think we're going to sign Darby. I think he's going to.
We should, as we should.
I think he
Mhm.
wants to because he found success here. And why leave a team? Why leave a team when you found success? Is the way that I see it. But I think that, I think we're going to re-sign him. I think Sheriff's going to get, re-signed. I think we are going to take care of our homegrown guys. You got to remember too, we got, this is roughly, just with research that I've looked at, is 7.5 mil that actually goes towards signing, draft picks, okay, that come in, and so that still leaves us a little bit of money on the table to upgrade certain positions. I do think that we're going to try to make some kind of splash with the wide receiver now that Dak is off the market.
Yep.
Right. I do think we're going to try to bring in a bridge QB in this sense. I've always felt that way since they showed their hand with Stafford. And I think that we're going to then get some lower level tier, some depth guys. Trey Boston was some talk, again today.
That could be interesting.
That could be
one
interesting.
position that we must either to fill or to bring in as competition is fucking kicker. I am tired of Dustin Hopkins missing kicks in big spots. Listen, if he can beat out someone, someone's got to come in for a legit competition, not just a camp leg, an actual competition that would push him. And if he beats him out, he beats him out. But I don't want to come into the season with just Dustin Hopkins. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Clearly, he's beating them out in competition. He's beating somebody out in competition. He keeps getting the damn job.
Well, I don't think they've actually had competition.
Yeah, have they not?
Yeah,
No.
they haven't. It's just been him.
He's driving me crazy. I mean, missing the PAT. I mean, that's ridiculous.
He's cost us games.
Yeah,
plain and simple. And he's kicking under 80%. Sorry. It's a tick.
Is he really?
But for the past 5 years, he's been 79%. And to me, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, we're going to go after some low tier guys. Like I said, Trey Boston was tossed around today. To me, that's a above average player, but he's low average pay. So I think that we can get something out of him. If you're asking him to be the man, that's not going to happen. But if you're putting him on a team surrounded by, a bunch of players who, have shared some success, I think that you're ultimately, as a team, going to continue that success. Again, I think it's just going to be a quiet scenario. But where I'm a little nervous is where do we begin? Because we can start locking up contracts, right, with the guys that are currently on the team. But where do we begin? I mean, we have to address this quarterback position. But to be fair with that too, and I think Rick Snider was the one that said it on the DC Tweet Team podcast, that he has a strong sense that the team actually is higher on Taylor Heineke than we are as fans. And so I don't know, that
he did say that. I remember. Yeah, you're right.
He did. And so to me, that's telling me that even though we're over here thinking that we're quarterback gurus and we understand the game, they may not get a bridge quarterback. They may stay with who they're staying with. They may try Heineke and leave Allen in there. I mean, they believe that Allen was, a potential starting quarterback. That's why they brought him in. Obviously Haskins, they had no choice. Haskins had to be the guy. It had to be proven either he is it or he isn't it. And when it was realized that he wasn't it, here we are. So I'm not maybe they do go and draft, a quarterback. I don't know if they trade up. I don't know if they draft in the second, third round. That's not, for me to figure out, because all of this, when it comes to the draft, it's all a crapshoot, right? But maybe that is their plans. And maybe we do go into the season with Taylor Heineke. And I'm thinking, man.
I mean, listen, Heineke was really quick out of the pocket. He was quick on his reads.
But look at our schedule. Look at our schedule this year.
Against a really tough Tampa Bay defense.
Against but their best player wasn't even
exactly
in the game.
Exactly.
Come
on.
What do you mean? He was a playmaker. Look at how successful he was for the rest of the games. He was
they're still a great defense regardless. You got to give
they are. I would put money on it is if Devin White was in the game, Heineke would have not scored that touchdown. If you go back and look at the replay, you had a linebacker out of position and they ran into each other. I've watched that play so many daggone times. If Devin White was in there, he would have got to Heineke before.
I understand. Those are all. I agree. I get it. But it was still a great game.
It was a fantastic game.
Yeah, he's still quick.
I'm not going to take anything away with that. But when people get film on him, which they will, after a couple of games, people will start to figure him out. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. But he's got legs. But another red flag and a weakness of him is his body type. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he said he's gonna.
He's not even 6 foot tall. All right, he's 5'11", 190 pounds.
Russell Wilson's small.
He is, but Russell Wilson's thick too. He's got some weight on him.
He said he was going to put some weight on.
That'd be good.
Season and bulk up.
But he's not Russell Wilson. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He doesn't have. He has been looked at by hundreds of coaches. He could not even make QB1 on the XFL team. That's got to tell you something.
I know. I'm just saying.
This guy, listen, trust me. I love what he did, and I want this kid on our team. I do. I think he would be an asset. He knows the offense. He's got playmaking ability, and he would be good in a spot start, or if he had to come in for a few games, if our QB1 had an injury or something like that. I think he's perfect for that situation. But unfortunately, it shows. Look, there's reports that are out all over the place that Washington is looking into Sam Darnold. I don't like Sam Darnold.
Oh.
I don't want him on the team, but they're bringing another quarterback in there. I have no doubt about it. They're not content with Allen or
I don't want Darnold.
Neither do I. I don't want to give no more than a fourth or fifth for him if we're going to.
I don't want him at all. That's really difficult for me to get excited.
Yeah, I'm Shelly. I'm right there with you. You. I don't see it. I didn't like him come out of USC, and he showed us nothing in New York besides getting shell shocked and seeing ghosts out there and.
Yeah,
he had a few good games here and there, but guess what? So did Dwayne Haskins, and look where that got him. Anyways,
it's been fun, guys.
Yeah, you got anything else, Keith? I got one more thing. I got one more segment. Our very first segment of take Keith's troll trash and shove it up his ass. Right?
Oh God.
This is the part of the show where people can tweet in. They can DM me and trash Keith's takes. Okay.
Oh, fun.
All right.
Oh,
Keith,
good for you, Keith.
Your take on WandaVision is fucking bullshit. It was a cinematic masterpiece that you wouldn't know if it kicked you in the ass. From @Jesse's24.
Oh boy. All right. I'll take it. Whatever. I love the hatred.
Yeah, we know you do. You live off that shit.
Yeah.
Shelly, you got anything else?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't get to see WandaVision. I don't have it on here on Xfinity yet. So
you're not missing.
Yeah, I'm not missing anything.
Oh, you're not missing anything. They should disband it like the cheerleaders.
Shut the hell up.
Oh, I want to see it.
You're trying to piss her off.
I don't think she heard it.
I want to see it.
I don't think she heard the joke.
Oh, what do you say?
Oh, no,
Disbanded
you-
like the cheerleaders. I heard him.
Shelly,
He's like my little brother, just doesn't know when to quit. I get it.
tell the to listeners where to catch you out on Twitter. What's your handle?
I am at Shells, 81.
All right, Keith.
Of course, you can find me at KG Skins 26. But by the way, shout out to everyone who subscribed to the YouTube.
Yes.
I think it was like 75 subscribers in 4 days. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And our YouTube is Bleedingburg Podcast. Is that what it is? Or Bleeding Burgundy Podcast? Oh,
Yeah, it's Bleeding Burgundy podcast.
the Bleedingburg Podcast is our Twitter handle, our new Twitter handle. So you can, if you have any topics or questions about the show, you can hit us there. You can reach me at Jesse's 24. Any hate mail, direct into Keith's DMs, if y'all don't mind. And that's going to be it for us, guys. We'll catch you next time. Hail to the team.
Perfect.